If you've seen my Peggy Bad Moments video, you'll know that this episode was what I considered the worst thing she's ever done. So, fair warning, if you're a Peggy fan, abandon all hope, thee who enter here. Also, drinking game. Take a shot every time I say testosterone. Actually, no, do not do that.
Geez, Bill, why run with the bulls? At your weight and cholesterol count, if you want to hasten death, just jump up and down a couple of times.
No, I want the bulls to do it.
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our Patreon, our sister channel, our merch store, and we have another new top tier patron this week. So, Patrick Doty, this one's for you.
All right. Someone's insane. Look out, someone's insane.
I got my eye on you, nutcase.
Alright, let's get into it. The Incredible Hank. The title is, of course, a reference to the Incredible Hulk, a character introduced by Marvel Comics in 1962.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
The episode starts off with Hank being stressed and overworked due to a shortage of workers and being the only person on the sales floor when it's busy. I've worked a lot of retail in my day and I get this. Sometimes this type of thing happens and it can be rather draining, especially when customers don't or don't want to understand that you're just one person and can't do everything at the same time.
Mr. McKenna, we're a little short-handed. Yeah, I understand you can't grill an excuse, sir, but Well, sir, I disagree. I don't think a monkey could do my job.
Yeah, I've heard customers say stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's kind of normal. And after a day full of being browbeaten and treated as a failure, Hank finally gets home and, as can be expected, just wants a second to decompress after all that. The issue with that is Peggy, who comes in all excited because she joined the planning committee for Viva Los Argentinos Day. Hank starts talking about his day, but Peggy completely ignores him. So I've been told that apparently I hate on Peggy too much, even though I've been clear that that's kind of the point of her character. And in order to try and get better at that, I'm going to try the compliment sandwich approach here. Positive, Peggy is involved within the community. Negative, she's complained on multiple occasions about Hank never opening up to her about how he feels.
Tell your father what you told your boss and what you tell your stupid dog every day.
Well, I don't know how anyone is supposed to know what you're feeling. Sitting there like a block of wood.
If you want him to stop, just tell him how you feel.
And yet, when he does, she completely ignores him as though he'd never spoken because she doesn't care about his feelings, his day, or anything outside of Peggy Hill. Positive, I like that she's trying a different outfit. That looks better on her than the normal one. I mean, really, Hank has a terrible day and has to come home and almost immediately deal with this.
There will be an actual bull run! Isn't that amazing?
Peggy thinks that the festival will drum up more interest in learning Spanish, and she wants Hank to join the committee too, even though he's the sole breadwinner who works full-time and is complaining about being stressed and overworked, as compared to Peggy, who is essentially the Dale in her marriage, who does not work full-time. Hell, it's arguable that she works part-time, and she has the extra time to be on committees.
Yes, well, I wish I could stay and chat, but I've got to teach a class. And you?
I could stay and chat.
When Hank tries to explain that he's stressed and doesn't have the time or energy, well, Peggy doesn't like that answer.
Well then, I guess I won't have time to prepare your dinner tonight.
Meanwhile, Bobby is having issues in the B plot where he doesn't want to shower after gym class. I also get that. I wasn't a big fan of showering in a room full of naked guys either. But you do it because you have to. That's the lesson he ends up learning, but we're gonna get to that. We've seen Bobby not be the most confident when it comes to others seeing his body.
I mean, don't you want to see me naked? Okay. Oh, really?
Well, if you don't want to...
No, it's... tell you what, maybe we could just start with our shirts. You know, what's the rush? We got our whole lives ahead of us.
And yet, yes, I also have to point out that we've seen the exact opposite.
Shake it, baby. Oh, give me some motion. Oh, yeah. She's got nice ones.
Though there is a difference between being topless and the full Monty, the latter possibly including some fears of inadequacy. Hank and the guys are talking about the upcoming festival. Well, the guys are. Hank's not in the mood for it. Primarily the bull run, where Dale gives us a little thing we like to call foreshadowing.
Now they're pumping the bulls with testosterone, a bona fide magic elixir of power. Makes a creature bigger, faster, meaner, and smarter.
Like Vin Diesel.
Exactly like Vin Diesel.
Okay, so bull runs, and we're not talking about the Civil War battles. I've made a video already on the history of bull runs. I'll leave a link in the description, but short version, it can be traced back to ancient times where variations were found all over the place from Greece to India. But the two most widely known are probably the runs in Pamplona, Spain, which still occur, as well as the defunct runs that were held in England, such as the one in Stamford that was only eventually brought to a stop after military intervention, and simply started out as the bulls being taken through town to get to better grazing grounds. Though it should be noted that no one was warned of these bulls on parade, as they literally bulled their way through the streets, taking out innocent bystanders along the way, kind of like what we saw a season later in A Rover Runs Through It.
Hank, you crazy cowboy, what the hell are you guys doing?
Well, right about now, I'm trying not to die.
Anywho, Bobby interrupts the Bull Run Love Fest and informs Hank that he is failing PE. Now, I've never heard of anyone failing PE for refusing to shower. Hell, I haven't seen anyone fail PE unless they refuse to dress out and participate. So that's kind of odd, but whatever. Hank is not happy with Bobby failing a class, that's pretty much a guaranteed A, nor at Bobby's flippant attitude towards it.
Son, PE isn't about being strong or fast or winning points. That stuff only matters in, well, every single other area of life.
So Hank's dealing with a son failing and not really caring. Granted, yes, there's more to it, and Bobby's got some stuff going on, and his wife who acts like she doesn't care about him because she's all excited about a festival, which, to be fair, is Spanish adjacent. Dale brings up that maybe what Bobby needs is more testosterone, using Joseph as an example of a teenage boy that's just bursting with it. Though Dale gets a tad more than he bargained for when he gives Joseph an opportunity to unleash some of that pent-up energy.
Hey, Joseph, wanna wrestle? Oh, God, it hurts! It hurts so much!
This gives Hank the idea that maybe he should get Bobby checked out, so he and Peggy do just that, with Peggy complaining that Hank just needs to accept Bobby for how he is, which, yes, that is true, she is correct, but I can also understand Hank's worry that Bobby may not be developing at the same rate as other boys his age. Hank is still wrong, but I understand it. Adding to this, he gets a phone call about Donna being out sick, so that's Donna, Enrique, and Joe Jack all out sick, so yeah, I'm guessing this might be flu season.
Dang it, dang it.
All the more reason this visit is a waste of time, Hank. We should just forget.
Peggy, just drop it, okay?
Okay, positive. Peggy is correct here. They are pretty much wasting their time, and this stems mostly from Hank not accepting Bobby. This is a conversation that these two absolutely need to have. Negative. This was the worst possible time to try and have that conversation, which should not be right after Hank got more news that stressed him out even more. Plus, they're in a public place, and Hank ain't exactly a fan of airing dirty laundry.
Mom, we're in public. One hand only, okay?
But I've missed you.
Thank you very much.
Terrible timing on her part. Positive. Peggy is looking out for Bobby. The checkup ends and Bobby's doing just fine, but Hank still prods the doctor about whether Bobby might need just a little testosterone to top him off. The doctor then warns against misusing testosterone and explains that most people prescribed it are middle-aged men dealing with a certain condition.
Men's testosterone levels fluctuate wildly throughout each day. In some men, it can cause lethargy, anxiety, irritability.
You have irritable male syndrome.
Now, I'm sure some of y'all are wondering if irritable male syndrome is real, and the answer is yes and no. IMS is a recognized condition for certain mammals that mate strictly seasonally. There are certain species of ram that are noted examples. As it pertains to humans, no, IMS is not a condition recognized by the medical community. It's also referred to as andropause, get it, the male version of menopause, and apparently many in the medical community deride it as nothing more than pseudoscience used to boost the sales of testosterone for drug companies. Also, the doctor is correct that testosterone levels do fluctuate throughout the day. Typically, levels are about 30 to 35% lower in the evening than they are in the morning, depending on your sleep schedule. If Hank is dealing with any type of testosterone issue, which he's not, he's just stressed, it'd be late onset hypogonadism, also known as testosterone deficiency syndrome, which doctors can give prescriptions prescriptions for testosterone for after testing the patient's levels. However, there's no doctor worth the paper their degree was printed on that would prescribe testosterone without testing Hank's levels first. High dose, low dose doesn't matter. Seriously, it requires blood samples taken on separate days at a particular time. And testosterone is not something they just give away all willy-nilly like candy on Halloween.
I'm the candy man!
It can actually cause major issues, not least of which include increased risk of stroke and or heart attack. Yeah, there can be some adverse side effects.
Make your dick fly off.
And yet this doctor who just gave Hank a lecture about not giving out testosterone when not needed just up and writes Hank a prescription for what he calls a low dosage. And I'll give him a little leeway here, but it's still kinda odd that he'd give it to Hank without running some tests. Peggy is totally convinced that Hank has IMS. Again, he doesn't. He's just stressed and has no safe place to de-stress. And knowing this, Hank throws the prescription away and storms out, with the doctor planting the seeds in Peggy's head to get it out of the trash, which is exactly what she does.
Well, I should probably turn my back and file a chart or something.
And thus begins Peggy's plot to secretly drug her husband with testosterone rather than, I don't know, be supportive. She starts by dropping it in his morning coffee and becomes transfixed on getting him to drink said coffee, even as Bobby finally admits he's failing PE due to not showering.
Oh my God, Dad, don't do that. I forbid it!
Dang it, what is going on with you?
Don't forget about your coffee, Hank.
And Hank trying to have a conversation with Bobby that he needs to have. Basically, Peggy being a bad wife is getting in the way of Hank being a good father. I do like how Hank shows that he connects with Bobby on this issue using the whole counting the tiles thing.
Because a big part of being a man is doing things you don't want to do. But there's a way to get through it. You just lower your eyes to the floor and count the tiles. In my day, there were 60.
And he finally drinks the coffee as he's about to head out, but don't worry, Peggy has a whole thermos full of drugged up coffee for him to take with him. You know, it would have been healthier for her to just put meth in there. We see an almost immediate effect on Hank. He's full of life and energy. Yeah, that's what testosterone does. He does tricks and delights the customers at work. Then is still full of pep and moxie in the alley when Dale makes a rather unbelievable claim about the future clones and Mongolians, which Hank completely tears apart, and unfortunately it's too long to use here, but this version should get through and to me is kind of funnier.
First, you're not going to clone a super warrior out of a guy who can't even win a thumb wrestling match. Two, you spent your life swearing that the robots will exterminate the clones by the end of 2010. So which is it, robots or clones? I suppose. Three, you've already said you sympathize with the invading Mongolians of 2087, so you'd be the last one they'd send to fight them. And four, if you were from the future, you would have seen this coming.
Hank also takes the opportunity to wrestle with Bill, which doesn't go well for Bill, but then again, whatever does. So Hank is entirely feeling the testosterone. He's upbeat, energetic, and apparently rather hungry because he just ups and grabs the entire chicken at dinner and starts going to town. He's also come up with ideas for Viva Los Argentinos, and he wants to join in on the planning, but sadly Bobby lies about showering after the gym, which doesn't really matter because Hank is, well, more or less
all hopped up on Goofenthal?
Yeah, and we also see that he's a tad bit friskier than normal as well.
Come on, let's go do some push-ups.
Huh?
You know, Peggy, Jag is a rerun tonight.
Oh, Hank.
Peggy is rather proud of herself. Hank is interested in what she's interested in and is basically a younger version of himself, all thanks to Peggy secretly drugging him with hormones. Yeah, to hell with the compliment sandwich. Peggy is wrong here. She is so wrong. And to add to it, when she sees the results she wanted, she ups the dosage. Fast forward to the meeting, and it's revealed that in order to afford the insurance, the bull run will have a 15-foot tall chain link fence separating the people from the bulls, which Hank finds unacceptable and declares that he'll run and get the businesses to sponsor him, therefore paying for the increased insurance cost.
If we put on a bull run with a safety fence, our whole town will look like a bunch of god-dang jackasses. And I'll be god-danged if I'm gonna let that happen.
Hank gets to training while Peggy continues to drug him. Notice that every time we see Peggy add testosterone, the amount increases. It was 1 pill in his coffee, 2 pills in his steak, and now 4 pills in a pitcher of tea. As far as being proud of herself, it goes to another level as Nancy is convinced that Hank is having an affair. Then Nancy shows rather blatantly that Hank could probably get it if he wanted, which just kicks Peggy's proudness of herself up another notch.
Damn!
Like, seriously, the smugness on this woman's face as she watches her best friend damn near drool over her husband. I get that she wants him to be seen as sexy.
And then I guess his second tier is Hank and Bill.
Excuse me? You think Hank is on the same tier as Bill Dotareve?
But this is going way too far.
Afternoon, ladies.
Oh, Hank, stop.
Hank continues his training, leaping over the lawnmower and doing push-ups, you know, like in his horse crank days.
It was easier back in high school when you didn't feel so great. Coach Sowers would just give you some of those go pills and you felt like you could take on the Dallas Cowboys. Man, you talk about them dang old go pills, man. It's talking about that old horse crank, man.
Yeah, Coach's special vitamins really did the trick. I broke my leg going for a touchdown, and I didn't realize it for 2 days. Took 7 police officers to get me into that ambulance.
And as much as I love his training interaction with Dale, part of me kind of wishes Bobby had been involved, considering how well he did while helping with Bill's training.
Hey, better, school. Wait, no. Come on, you tub of slop, move your can.
But alas, we get Dale, who gives up rather quickly because he's Dale and also because Hank is way too aggressive given the environment and situation.
Is that all you got? Come on.
Hey!
My God, Hank's getting right in the bull's face.
I'll kick your fat bull ass. Come on.
Ow! You play too rough. I'm going home.
Yes, Hank is higher energy, but due to Peggy constantly increasing the dosage that she's secretly drugging him with, well, the body can reach a tipping point where those quote-unquote positives that Peggy is so proud of herself for start to turn into negatives. We see more of this when Hank is working out in the garage. Keep in mind that though Hank has the energy of a high schooler, he still has the heart of a middle-aged man. And in reality, he could have a heart attack at any time due to pushing his heart too hard. He wants to get a little afternoon delight going with Peggy. However, apparently Cotton is coming over for dinner, which Hank takes as getting cock-blocked by a chinless old man. And he ain't too happy about that.
Dang it, he always ruins everything. Why does he have to be here? I got my own house so I wouldn't have to deal with his crap.
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I can hear myself. Can you hear this?
Though the positive here is that Peggy has finally figured out that she may have up royally. I consider it a missed opportunity, by the way, that we didn't get to see Testosterone Hank interact with Cotton. That would have been pretty interesting. Instead, we get Peggy going to the doctor and admitting that she's been drugging her husband with hormones, which the doctor is understandably horrified about, but Peggy tries to blame him for not telling her not to drug her husband. Yeah, this was when she began the floor portion of her routine in her quest to win Olympic gold in accountability dodging.
I never told you to secretly dope your husband.
Well, you didn't say not to, did you?
I want to say this loud and clear. If you have to be told not to drug someone against their will, that's a serious problem. Did the doctor maybe push her in the direction of getting the prescription out of the trash? Yeah, sure, that could be argued, but he never told her to drug her husband. And the reason he never told her to not drug her husband was because you shouldn't have to be told that. He tries to make the best of the situation and gives her some patches to help Hank wean off of the testosterone kick that Peggy's kept him on. And we get one of my favorite moments from the series when she has to finally come clean to Hank, who has noticed his energy levels dropping and can't go like he used to. And I love how we don't get to see it as much as experience it through the point of view of Con and Min just being nosy neighbors. I mean, that's just good writing.
How could you, Peggy?
Oh, I bet she burned the meatloaf.
It caused what?
Why he point at his crotch like that?
20% shrinkage? You want me to put a patch on my what?
Okay. It's going in a weird direction now.
To Peggy's credit, she does say she's sorry, which is a rarity. Since the Hulk is gone and the Bull Run is stuck with just Bruce Banner.
Yeah, Banner's powerful and useful too. Is he though?
Peggy thinks that Hank will drop out, but being true to his speech to Bobby earlier, he doesn't even consider dropping out because he said he was gonna do it, so he's gonna do it. As the old saying says, a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, and if you say you're gonna do something, you do it.
But if you're scared, why?
Because a man does what he has to do.
Peggy tries to get him to wear the patch, but Hank still refuses. I get where he's coming from, but it would be better for his health if he just wore the patch. It is possible that he sees the patch as a performance enhancer, and that's a big reason why he doesn't want to. So now Hank is going into the Bull Run weakened and terrified, with Bobby adding to his resolve when he admits that he lied about showering after gym class, causing Hank to want there to be at least one honest hill out there.
Between the drugging and the lying, one of us in this family has got to show some goddamn integrity.
By the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but I might as well now. The PE coach that chastises Bobby for not showering sounds just like Coach Kleehammer, but looks totally different. It's possible that we have a Heck Dorland type situation here.
Oh, nice try. That'll get you an A in debate, but an F in gym. Now shower!
Though we've seen Kleehammer himself have issues getting the boys to shower.
All right, ladies, hit the showers. And no Oklahoma car washes neither. Get your hair wet.
Anywho, Hank runs with the bulls, and luckily he doesn't die. And in case you're wondering, bulls could run up to about 35 miles an hour, but in runs like this, they typically go about 15 to 20. So either way, Hank's booking it pretty steady here. But always remember, you're faster scared than they are angry, because this is just pure survival instinct on Hank's part.
This is the bravest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
His bravery impressing Bobby to the extent that we end the episode with Bobby finally taking a shower after gym, counting the floor tiles as he disappears into the steam. Attaboy, Bobby, we all gotta go through it. So, the Incredible Hank. I know some people are gonna comment about me being too hard on Peggy here, but I don't believe that's possible. There is no being too hard on Peggy for this episode. This, in my opinion, is the worst Peggy Hill episode. And though I like the episode and find it really funny, more often than not I end up skipping it because the writers just went way too far with making Peggy into a full-on villain. There are so many great lines and scenes in this episode, it's damn near a greatest hits of what people love about the show. It's got an underrated B-plot about Bobby dealing with a real-life issue a lot of boys his age, myself included, dealt with. But all of that is for naught due to the black hole of superfluous narcissism that is Peggy Hill as she's written. You know who hated Peggy Hill more than anyone? The writers, because they had her do crap like this. Is it a good episode? Absolutely, especially if you don't think about it too much. But when you start to think about things, it just gets uncomfortable, which again is unfortunate because it's a hilarious episode. Every character is on point except for Peggy, which I suppose is rather Peggy of her, or at least for during that portion of the show's run. Keep in mind, Goodbye Normal Jeans is 2 episodes after this one, and a lot of people have a hard time deciding between the two about which one was the worst Peggy. Like I said, no one hated Peggy more than the writers during these seasons. Overall, if you turn your brain off and don't think about things, it's a good if not great episode that includes some of my favorite scenes and lines. Dale being manhandled by Joseph, being bullied by Hank on the lawnmower, Hank getting mad because he got cock-blocked by a shinless septuagenarian, Con and Min reacting to the testosterone reveal. The hits just keep on coming, and yet for the most part I tend to skip it because of the writer's need to morally bankrupt Peggy Hill. But if nothing else, we get Hank being his best Hank and setting the best possible example for Bobby. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see y'all next time.
Eat cabbage cheese.
Boy, that cheese.
Maybe he's missing something. Like testosterone.
Dale.
It's the perfect explanation. Testosterone provides everything Bobby's missing: energy, confidence, aggression, agility, muscle, speed. Just give him a little extra to top him off and instant puberty.